Almaty, ʻælməti, formerly known as Alma Ata, and Verny, is the largest city in Kazakhstan, with a population of 1,703,481 people, containing 9% of the country's total population. Almaty is considered a world city with a beta classification according to GaWC. It served as capital of the Kazakh state in its various forms from 1929 to 1997, under the influence of the then Soviet Union and its appointees. Alma Ata was the host city for a 1978 international conference on primary health care where the Alma Ata Declaration was adopted, marking a paradigm shift in global public health. In 1997, the government relocated the capital to Astana in the north of the country. Almaty continues as the major commercial and cultural center of Kazakhstan, as well as its biggest population center. The city is in the mountainous area of southern Kazakhstan in the foothills of the Ælmə at an elevation of 2,300–3,000 feet, where the Bolshaya and Malaya Alma Ata rivers run into the plain. Status: from 1929 to 1936, Almaty was the capital of Kazakh SSR. From 1936 to 1991 it was the capital of Kazakh SSR. After Kazakhstan became independent in 1991, Almaty continued as the capital until 1997, when Astana was designated a return to the historic capital. Almaty remains the largest, most developed, and most ethnically and culturally diverse city in Kazakhstan, due to development by the Soviet Union and relocation of workers and industries from European areas of the Soviet Union during World War II. The city has a high proportion of ethnic Russians and Ukrainians. The city is in the foothills of Ælmə in the extreme southeast. It has a relatively mild climate with warm summers and quite cold winters. Since the city is in a tectonically active area, it has an endemic risk of earthquakes. Although most do not cause any significant damage, Almaty has suffered some large destructive earthquakes. In 1997 the capital was moved to Astana in the north-central part of the country. Since then Almaty has been referred to as the southern capital of Kazakhstan. Toponymy: the name Almaty has its roots in the medieval settlement Alma Ata that existed near the present-day city. A disputed theory holds that the name is derived from the Kazakh word for apple and is often translated as full of apples. Alma is also apple in other Turkic languages. The Russian version of the name was Alma Ata. However, since independence, Russian has tended to use the Kazakh Almaty. There is great genetic diversity among the wild apples in the region surrounding Almaty. The region is thought to be the apple's ancestral home. The wild Malus sieversii is considered a likely candidate for the ancestor of the modern domestic apple. The city's name was written as in Turkish and Persian, written with the Perso-Arabic script. History: Prehistoric Almaty. During 1000 to 900 BC in the Bronze Age, the first farmers and cattle breeders established settlements in the territory of Almaty. During the Saka period, these lands were occupied by the Saka and later Wusun tribes, who inhabited the territory north of the Tian Shan mountain range. Evidence of these times can be found in the numerous burial mounds and ancient settlements, especially the giant burial mounds of the Sakazars. The most famous archaeological finds have been the Golden Man, also known as the Golden Warrior, for the Issyk Kurgan, the Zhalorli treasure, the Kargili diadem, and the Jadisuarts bronzes. During the period of Saka and Wusun governance, Almaty became an early educational center. Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages, a city culture developed in Almaty. There was a transition to a settled way of living, the development of farming and handicrafts, and the emergence of a number of towns and cities in the territory of Shettisu. In the 10th–14th centuries, settlements in the territory of the so-called Greater Almaty became part of the trade routes of the Silk Road, which reached from China to Western Asia and Europe. At that time, Almaty became one of the trade, craft and agricultural centers on the Silk Road. It had an official mint. The city was first mentioned as Almaty in books from the 13th century. 15th–18th centuries. In the 15th–18th centuries, the city was in decline as trade activities were decreasing on this part of the Silk Road. European nations were conducting more trade by shipping. This period was one of crucial ethnic and political transformations. The Kazakh state and nation were founded here, close to Almaty. The Dzunga invaded, dominating the Kazakh people for a period. The Kazakh fought to protect the land and preserve independence. In 1730 the Kazakh defeated the Dzunga in the Eni-Rock-I Mountains, 70 kilometers northwest of Almaty. During the 18th century, the city and region became part of the Russian Empire. Foundation of Verny. To defend its empire, Russia built Fort Verny near the Zylyaevsky-Alatau mountain range between the Bolshaya and Malenka-Almashinka rivers. Construction began on the 4th of February 1854 and was nearly completed by the autumn of that year. The fort was a wooden palisade, shaped like a pentagon, with one side built along the Malaya-Almashinka. Later, the wood fence was replaced with a brick wall with embrasures. The main facilities were erected around the large square for training and parading. In 1855, Kazakhs displaced from the nomadic territory appeared in Verny. Since 1856, Verny started accepting Russian peasants. They founded the Bolshaya-Almashinskaya stanitsa near the fortification. The inflow of migrants was increasing and led to construction of the Malaya-Almashinskaya stanitsa and Tatarskaya Sloboda. It was the place of settlement for Tatar merchants and craftsmen. In 1867, Verny Fort was developed as a town called Almashinsk. The town soon returned to the name Verny. According to the first city plan, developed by administrators of the Russian Empire, the city perimeters were 2 kilometers on the south along Almashinka River and 3 kilometers on the west. The new city area was divided into residential parts, and the latter into districts. 3 categories of city buildings were defined. Category I and II buildings were of 1 or 2-storied construction with a high semi-basement. They were erected around and in the center of the city, others on the outskirts. On the 28th of May 1887, at 4 a.m., an earthquake almost totally destroyed Verny in 11–12 minutes. Brick buildings were damaged the most, as they broke apart because of lack of flexibility. As a result, people were afterwards inclined to build 1-storied buildings made of wood or adobe. By 1906, the population of the city had grown to 27,000, 2/3 of whom were Russians and Ukrainians. Soviet era. In 1918, following the Russian Revolution and establishment of the Bolshevik government, Soviet power was established in Verny. The city and the region became part of the Turkestan Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic. On the 5th of February 1921, the government decided to rename Verny to Alma Ata, one of the ancient names of the area. Revolution of 1917 to World War II. In 1921, a joint consultation of regional government representatives, professional trade associations, and local faith-based groups was summoned in an effort to rename Verny. Alma Ata was the preferred choice. In 1926, the Council of Labor and Defense approved the construction of the Turkestan-Siberia, a railway that was a crucial element of the future growth of Kazakhstan, especially in the east and southeast of the region. The Turkestan-Siberia railway construction also had a decisive economic impact that strongly influenced the destiny of Alma Ata as the capital of the Kazakh SSR. In 1930, the construction of the highway and railway to Alma Ata was completed. On the 29th of April 1927, the government decided to transfer the capital of the Kazakh Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic from Kyzyl to Alma Ata, within the RFSFR. This attracted more trade and people working with the government, stimulating intensive development in the city. On the 31st of January 1928, Leon Trotsky, leader of the 1917 October Revolution, accompanied by his wife Natalia Sedova and his son Lev Sedov, was exiled to Alma Ata by Joseph Stalin, then head of the Bolshevik Party in Moscow. Trotsky was expelled from Alma Ata to Turkey in February 1929, and went into exile in Mexico City. The Alma Ata airport was opened in 1930, opening up a direct connection from Alma Ata to Moscow, the center of the Soviet government. Alma Ata became the main entry by air to Kazakhstan, a status which it retains today. Transformation of this small town into the capital of the Kazakh SSR was accelerated by the large-scale construction of new administrative and government facilities and housing. The Great Purge of the Stalin era extended to Kazakhstan, where numerous intellectuals, activists, leaders, teachers and others were killed. The Soviet government dominated the population. During the 1930s, Kazakh nomads suffered starvation after disruption of the traditional living patterns. In 1936, the Architecture and Planning Bureau developed a plan to enhance Alma Ata as the new cultural capital of the Kazakh SSR. The plan was based on the existing rectangular system of districts. They were to be strengthened and reconstructed. World War II. During World War II, the government dramatically affected the city's population and structures. To better organize the home front and concentrate industrial and material resources, the government evacuated 26,000 people and numerous industries from the European theater of war. Alma Ata hosted over 30 industrial facilities removed from the European section of the USSR, 8 evacuated hospitals, 15 institutes, universities and technical schools, and around 20 cultural institutions. Motion picture production companies from Leningrad, Kiev, and Moscow were also moved to Alma Ata at this time. This brought in so many ethnic Russians that the Kazakhs became a minority in the region. Over 52,000 Alma Ata residents received the title, "Gratitude for your self-denying labor." 48 residents were granted the title of Hero of the Soviet Union. 3 rifle divisions were raised in Alma Ata, including the well-known 8th Guards Rifle Division, Panfilov, along with 2 rifle battalions and 3 aviation regiments that were raised on the bases of the Air Club of Alma Ata. Industrialization in the Soviet period after 1941. Due to the mass evacuation of factories and workers from the European part of the Soviet Union during World War II, Alma Ata became an administrative and trading center. Although it had an underdeveloped industrial base, it had become one of the largest industrial centers of the Soviet Union. It was to the rear of the wartime fronts. During the years 1941 to 1945, the industrial potential of the city increased significantly. Development increased during the post-war years. The population of the city grew from 104,000 in 1919 to 365,000 in 1968. By 1967 the city had 145 enterprises, with the bulk of these being light industrial and food industries. The main industries in Alma Ata were food processing, based largely on locally abundant fruit and vegetable raw materials, light industry, and heavy industry. The main products of the region were food, meat, flour and cereals, milk, wines, canned fruit, tobacco, confectionery, alcoholic spirits, beer, yeast, and tea. Light industry, textiles, fur, knitting, carpets, footwear, apparel, printing, and the Almaty cotton combine. Heavy industry, electrical engineering, foundry engineering, car repair, bearing repair, building materials, woodworking, concrete structures and structural elements, and house building. 1945 to 2000 infrastructure. From 1966 to 1971, 1,400,000 square meters of public and cooperative housing were built. Annually, around 300,000 square meters of dwellings were under construction. Most of the buildings constructed during this time were earthquake-proof multi-story buildings. The Soviet government tried to diversify architectural forms to create a more varied cityscape. During this period, many schools, hospitals, cultural and entertainment facilities were constructed, including Lenin's Palace, the Kazakhstan Hotel, and the Medio Sports Complex. The Medio Dam, designed to protect the city of Almaty, and the Medio skating rink from catastrophic mud flows during flood season, was built in 1966. It was reinforced a number of times in the 1960s and 1970s. The supersonic transport Tupolev Tu-144 went into service on the 26th of December 1975, carrying mail and freight between Moscow and Alma Ata in preparation for passenger services. These began in November 1977. The Aeroflot flight on 1 June 1978 was the 55th and last scheduled passenger flight of the Tu-144. Alma Ata was the host city for a 1978 international conference on primary health care. The Alma Ata Declaration was adopted, marking a paradigm shift in global public health. On the 16th of December 1986, the Желтоgbzhan riot took place in response to General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev's dismissal of Denmark-aimed coup. September 7, 1988, the subway Almaty Metro project started construction. The subway was opened on the 1st of December 2011 after 23 years. In 1993, the government made a decision to rename the city from Alma Ata to Almaty. In 1997, the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, approved the decree to transfer the capital from Almaty to Astana in the north of the country. On the 1st of July 1998, a law was passed to establish the special status of Almaty as a scientific, cultural, historical, financial, and industrial center. 21st century. The new General Plan of Almaty for 2030 was developed in 1998. It is intended to create ecologically safe, secure, and socially comfortable living conditions in the city. The main objective is to promote Almaty's image as a garden city. It proposes continued multi-storied and single housing development, reorganization of industrial districts or territories, improving transport infrastructure, and expanding Almaty Metro. The first line of Almaty Metro was launched on the 1st of December 2011, 2 weeks ahead of schedule. The extension of the line to Kalkaman was opened in 2015. The area of the city has been expanded during recent years with the annexation of the suburban settlements of Kalkaman, Koktube, Gorny Gignit. Numerous apartment blocks and office skyscrapers have transformed the face of the town, which has been built into the mountains. However, the plan of developing Almaty has been threatened after a mass shooting on police officers at the city in July 2016. Climate. The climate in Almaty is a humid continental climate with hot summers and cold winters. It is characterized by the influence of mountain-valley circulation. This is especially evident in the northern part of the city, located directly in the transition zone of the mountain slopes to the plains. Annual average air temperature is equal to 10 degrees Celsius. The coldest month is January, -4.7 degrees Celsius. The warmest month, 23.8 degrees Celsius. In average years, frost starts on about the 14th of October and ends on about the 18th of April, with sustained extreme cold from about the 19th of December to about the 23rd of February, a period of about 67 days. Weather with temperature above 30 degrees Celsius is average for about 36 days a year. In the center of Almaty, like any large city, there is a heat island. Average daily temperature contrast between the northern and southern suburbs of the city is 3.8% and in the coldest and 2.2% and in the hottest 5 days. Therefore, frost in the city center starts about 7 days later and finishes 3 days earlier than in the northern suburbs. Annual precipitation is about 650 to 700 millimeters. April and May are the wettest months, during which about a third of the city's annual precipitation is received. It is not uncommon for snow and a cold snap to hit Almaty as late as the end of May. For example, in the last quarter century, such snowfalls were recorded on the 13th of May 1985, the 1st of May 1989, the 5th of May 1993 and the 18th of May 1998. The record latest snowfall in Almaty was on the 17th of June 1987. Almaty sometimes experiences winter rain, despite heavy preceding snowfall and low temperatures. The most memorable winter rain took place at the 16th of December 1996 during a military parade to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the independence of the Republic. Almaty weather stations GM mostly record southeasterly wind. Its resistance increases during the summer and falls in winter. Wind speeds exceed 15 meters per second on about 15 days a year on average. Seismic activity in the territory of Kazakhstan. Industrially developed and densely populated areas in the south and southeast of Kazakhstan are situated in the zones where the maximum magnitudes of expected earthquakes are from 6.0 to 8.3. The South Seismic Active Zone of Kazakhstan is a part of the North Tian Shan Ridge system. The main city of Almaty is located near the Zylisky Alatau mountain base. In recorded history prior to the late 19th century, 3 catastrophic earthquakes are known to have taken place there. The following are the dates of occurrence and extracts from the historical chronicles of the times. 1770. Vodka village was buried. 1807, a horrible catastrophe took place in Almaty. 1865, strong earthquake. Within the past 125 years, 3 more strong destructive earthquakes occurred here, with centers not more than 20 to 130 kilometers from the current city location. The magnitudes were 9 and 11 on the MSK scale 64, and the centers were located within 100 kilometers. Centers were located in a south and southeast directions. Verninsko, Chilik, Kamensko, K indicates the energy of the earthquake. In each of these earthquakes, the city suffered wide destruction. The territory of the Kyrgyz state adjoins North Tianshan. Demographics. Ethnic groups. According to the USSR census of 1989, the population of Almaty was 1,071,900. The Kazakhstan census of 1999 reported 1,129,400. Economy. Almaty generates approximately 20% of Kazakhstan's GDP. The nation is the most powerful economically in Central Asia, and Almaty is a key financial center. It is considered to be a beta global city as of the 2012 GaWC study. One of the largest industries in Almaty is finance, and its financial exports make it a large contributor to Kazakhstan's balance of payments. Almaty is home to BTA Bank, which is the largest bank in Central Asia, Kazkommertsbank, and other major banks. The Kazakhstan Stock Exchange is based in Almaty. Almaty is also developing as a regional financial and business center. Under construction is the Almaty Financial District and Essentai Park. This was designed by T.J. Gottesdiener, who designed both 7 World Trade Center in New York City and Time Warner Center in Tokyo Midtown, respectively. Its goal is to become the largest business center in Central Asia. Essentai Tower, a 37-floor building in the park, is the tallest mixed-use building in Kazakhstan, housing offices of companies such as Ernst & Young, HSBC and Credit Suisse. The first Ritz-Carlton hotel in Kazakhstan opened in 2013 in Essentai Tower. Along with professional services, media companies are concentrated in Almaty. The media distribution industry has been growing rapidly since 2006. Major broadcasting channels KTK and NTK are based in Almaty, as are several national newspapers. There are plans to construct a Western Europe-Western China highway passing through Almaty. A new airport in Almaty expects to handle about 45 million tons of cargo each year. Air Astana is headquartered in the Air Astana Center 1 in Almaty. Prior to the dissolution, Air Kazakhstan and Kazakhstan Airlines were also headquartered in Almaty. The economy of Almaty city and Almaty region continues to grow, and is expected to increase at nearly 6% per year until 2020. The city generates approximately 20% of the national GDP. To mitigate the rapidly increasing electricity demand caused by this growth, the Kazakh authorities decided to upgrade the power system by building the new transmission line and modernizing the substations. The Alma transmission project, supported by the World Bank, has helped achieve this goal. Sites. Koktobin aerial tramway line connects downtown Almaty with a popular recreation area at the top of Koktob, a mountain just to the southeast. The city television tower, Almaty Tower, is located on the hill. It has a variety of tourist attractions, such as amusement park-style rides and restaurants. Fountains. According to the city's Department of Natural Resources and Resource Use Management, as of 2007 the city has 125 fountains. Among them is the Oriental Calendar Fountain, whose 12 sculptural figures represent the 12 animals of the Kazakh 12-year animal cycle. Mudio. The Mudio is an outdoor speed skating and bandy ring. It is located in a mountain valley on the southeastern outskirts of Almaty, Kazakhstan. Medu sits 1,691 meters above sea level, making it the highest skating rink in the world. It has 10.5 thousand square meters of ice and utilizes a sophisticated freezing and watering system to ensure the quality of the ice. Chimbulik. Chimbulik is a ski resort near Almaty, located in the upper part of the Medu Valley in the Zylysk-Latau mountain range, at the elevation of 2,200 meters above sea level. The resort area is about 25 kilometers south of Almaty city by the Media Road. It is popular for its mild climate, large quantity of sunny days and great amount of snow through the winter. Big Almaty Lake. Big Almaty Lake is a natural lake located in Trans-ʻælməti Mountains near Almaty. Transportation. The closest airport to Almaty is Almaty International Airport, located 15 kilometers to the northeast. Saran bus terminal provides intercity bus connections within Kazakhstan, as well as international connections to Kyrgyzstan and China, and regional bus connections west of the city. Sayakar bus terminal provides regional bus connections to places north and east of the city. Kazakhstan Temir Jolis has two stations, Almaty 1 and Almaty 2, located within the city. Education. Universities. Sport. The historic bandy team Dynamo won the Soviet Championships in 1977 and 1990 and the European Cup in 1978. The home ground was Medyu. Bandy was introduced for the first time at the 2011 Winter Asian Games. Medyu was the main arena at the 2012 Bandy World Championship. The second arena built for the championships is an alternative field at Almaty Central Stadium. The Federation of International Bandy has opened an office for Asia, which is located in Almaty. Almaty will be the host of the 2017 Winter Universiade with bandy on the program. The city's primary football team is FC Kairat, founded in 1954 and one of the most successful Kazakh clubs. Olympic aspirations. Almaty was a bidder to host the 22nd Olympic Winter Games in 2014, but was eliminated from consideration, not making the shortlist of candidate cities. Almaty won its bid to host the 2011 Winter Asian Games. It will be the 2017 Winter Universiade host. The city was exploring possible bids, such as the 2018 Winter Olympics, but did not submit one. Almaty submitted the bid to host the 2022 Winter Olympics in August 2013, but lost to Beijing. People from Almaty. Gallery. Twin towns. Sister cities. Almaty is twinned with